Hey everybody, it's Rami Marks, your Tangled Yogi out here in Northern California, and today we're going to be working on this really fun tangle right here in the middle. You can see this is called Fayzed, F-A-Y-Z, and it was created by Galen Miller. And then off to the side here I have these really fun leaf-like tangles, and this is called Icantoo by Hani Nura. And then you can see I have Kruffle over here, which is a really fun one. That's by Sandy Hunter. And then, of course, I have Pokeleaf right here off of the side. So let's get ourselves ready. What you are going to need for class today is your regular pencil without an eraser, because there are no mistakes in Zentangle. You're going to need a Micron PN, the black one. And then you are also going to need a good puddling pen. Today I'm going to try the Faber-Castell Pitt pen. I was in the store the other day and this looked like it was a lot of fun, so I wanted to give it a try. But whatever your favorite puddling pen is, go ahead and grab that. All right, so there you have it. Let's get started. So most of you who have taken class from me before know that I like to get centered before I actually begin my drawing. So we'll start by doing a short meditation here. So go ahead and sit back into your chair and let the back of your body rest against the chair itself. Feel the soles of your feet connecting down onto the floor here. Take your hands and bring your hands into your lap and let the palms turn to face up. And go ahead and inhale now and shrug your shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhale, roll your shoulders back and down. Inhale, roll your shoulders up towards your ears, and then exhale, roll the shoulders back and down. And one more time, inhale, roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, relax them back and down. Softening now. In the shoulders, in the chest, in the belly, letting your hips be supported by your chair that you're sitting in, feeling your thighs relax, calves relaxed, feeling your feet making connection with the floor here, and then letting your attention drop into the breath, feeling the breath as it rolls in, feeling the breath as it rolls out. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. So let's take a moment to play with the breath just a little bit. As you inhale here, inhale to the count of 4. Pause with your breath held in for 4. And now see if you can exhale to the count of 8. Inhale for 4. Pause with the breath in for 4. And exhale for 8. Inhale for 4. Hold the breath in for 4. And exhale to 8. And now let your breath return to its natural pace, and notice if there's a little bit more spaciousness in the breath. Feeling the body relaxed and at ease. Notice the shoulders relaxing, the belly softening, the chest more open, so that as you practice here today, if at any point you feel frustration or determination show up in your practice, you can just drop right back into the breath, right back to this place. Let's take one more deep breath in. Exhale. And beginning to wiggle in the fingertips and wiggling in the toes. Gently blink the eyes open. And let's get ready to tangle. Okay, so here we go. For those of you who were paying attention in the beginning here, I was telling you what you were going to need for class, and I neglected to say you would need a nickel to help you with your circle. So if you want to pause me here and go grab a nickel, now's your chance. Otherwise, we're just going to keep on rolling. So you can see that I have my Genesis tile here. These are at the Tangled Yogi shop if you want to go and check those out. The reason why I created the Genesis tile was because I was looking for paper that was really accepting of color pencils. I was looking for a really nice, super smooth surface. So if you are interested in picking up some Zentangle tiles, these are a little bit different than the Apprentice tiles, just because the surface is different. Okay, so check it out, Tangled Yogi Shop. Let's do this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the regular old-fashioned Zentangle way by putting dots in each corner like so. And you can see that I'm leaving a little bit of space in my borders there because I know I'm going to work in them. And I'm going to go ahead and connect my dots. And you can see that I'm going to turn my tile and just go ahead and let those bad boys come together. And just making it easier for my hands. So if you're right-handed, you'll probably be working the other direction, but because I'm left-handed, this is the direction I'm rolling in. So once you have that, I'm going to go ahead up here, and we are going to go ahead and let one line go right across, just like so, to create our string. Now, once you've created that string, I want you to try to determine where the center of that string is. So do your best and just make a little bit of a dot right there in the center. Now go ahead and grab that handy dandy nickel that we were talking about and see if you can put it right in the center where you put your dot. And then I'm just going to go around and I'm just going to trace around my nickel so that I get a nice circle. And there you can see I did a pretty good job of getting that center. That's pretty good for me. So if you need to pause me here, this is a great place to pause. Otherwise, we have created our string. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my Micron PN. I'm switching out of my pencil. I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, that's it? That's all we're doing with the pencil? That's all, folks. So here we go. I'm going to start to build on that circle now. And I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to make one dot over here and one dot over here. And then I'll make another dot down here and another dot down there. So up here now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a smaller circle. And then I'll make a small circle over here. Kind of looks like Mickey Mouse ears, doesn't it? And then I'm going to come over here and give it another circle. And one more. So that is the basis for our phase that we're going to do. And now I'm just going to close up my lines here, and you can see that I'm going to turn my tile to make it easy for my hand to close up that circle. And there you have it. I've got my circles ready to go. If you need to pause right here, this is a great place to do it. Otherwise, let's just begin. So you can see that I'm right here and I'm working with this circle right here on the right here. And I'm just going to let this be my starting point. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the side of that circle and then watch. I'm going to come down and I'm going to roll right into the corner of the circle that's below it. Can you see that area right there? Now I'm going to go right back up to that circle that I started from, and I'm going to swing off, not unlike Showgirl. If you've ever done that tangle, that's one of my all-time favorites. So you can see that it just connected right off the side of that circle there. I'm going to step out and do it again. One. And then I'll do another one, and notice how I'm stepping down, 2, and then here comes number 3 right here. So it's really creating quite a lovely fanning effect, yeah? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn my tile, and I'm going to do the exact same thing again. So here I am, I'm rolling off the top of that circle, and here I come right into that corner. See how that happened? And then I'll come right back to the top here. I'll swing out, make my fan, come right back in. Then I'm stepping down a little bit, coming off the top, rolling out, and coming right back in. One more time, stepping out, rolling out, and coming right back in. I think we can do one more here, so I'm going to do one more, and right back in. Turning my tile, coming right back in. Here we are, right at the same place that we started before. Using that circle, rolling off the top of it, come right into that corner that's at the bottom circle. And then I'm going to go ahead and swing out the top, stepping down a little bit, swinging out, stepping down a little bit, swinging out. Last one right here, and coming right back in. Last one right here. Here we go. So now you can see I'm right here. I'm going to go ahead and use that circle, swinging in, coming off the top here, swing out. One more, stepping out. One more, stepping out. And last one, stepping down and reconnecting. Now, if you have a lot of space in between your petals, don't worry about it. You can always fill those in just like you do on Showgirl. So if you needed to create more step downs to get them to come together, that's something you could definitely do. I have a couple of different pieces here where I actually had done this and there was lots of space in between, and I liked that too. So it really doesn't matter. Every time you do it, it's going to be a different feeling. Now this one, I actually did fill it all in. So you could see I had a couple here, and then I added a couple of little ones. So if you feel like yours are Willy Wonka and you're not happy about it, just keep adding little step downs and you'll see that it'll come together quite nicely. Okay? So give yourself a chance and enjoy the process. So we're coming right back in here, and we're going to start to work with our outer pieces. So if you need to pause me here, this might be a great place to pause me. So otherwise, let's continue on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to this area right here. This is the place in which we're going to work in. And we're going to start to work with Honey Nura's Icantoo. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start by making just a slightly wavy line coming down in towards my flower there. Can everybody see that? And then I'm going to go ahead and give it another leaf off of there, just like so. So it's the spine of the flower, or the spine of the leaf here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right next to that spine, and I'm going to aura the spine. And you'll notice that I'm starting to dip into my border here. Now I'm going to create a little bit of a tip there, and then I want you to think of the capital letter B. This always reminds me of the letter B. So I'm just going to come in here and do my B, and then once I get down really close to the flower, watch, I'm going to do a little bit of a spiral here, and that's it. Now, if you want, you can let your stem touch in, or you could create a little bit of a stem right there if you wanted to. I think I'm just going to leave it open just like so. So I'm going to do that one more time on the opposite side. So I'm going to turn my tile, and if you want to watch me again, you can watch me again. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring that wavy line down. So just a very slight wavy line, just like so. And then I'll go ahead and I'll give it another vein or another stem right in there. Coming in right next to it here, I'm going to aura that line. That just means I'm outlining the line. Coming up here, I'm going to make a tip. Now I want to think of my letter B, right? So I'm just going to go 1, 2, there's my B, and then I'm just going to come right in and do my spiral, and there's my leaf. If you need to pause me here, this is a great place to do it. Otherwise, we're just going to keep on going. So hopefully you've had a chance to finish up those Icantoos, and we're going to start to build off of the side of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right up in here. You can see that my piece is now on the diagonal like so, and I'm going to come up right into this area right here, and I'm coming in right off of Icantoo, and I'm going to make a little curved line going off just like so. And I'll turn my tile just to make it easy for my hand here. And at the top of my tile here, I'm going to be working inside the border. You can see I'm inside the border, yeah? I'm going to do the Tangle Flux, and I'll show you what I mean. So all this is a little teardrop shape, just like so. And then I'll just come over to the opposite side here, and I'll do another teardrop shape, just like so. Now, Flux generally looks like this. When we see Flux in the Zentangle world, it looks like a teardrop shape, and it usually has a line going through it and 3 dots. And so Flux is one of those that we see all the time, but this seems to be a variation of Flux, and I'm not really sure what the name of this is, so hopefully I'm not missing anybody's variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to make a line, and then I'm going to make a little circle at the end of that line. I'll come over here and I'll do the same thing right over here. I'll come right underneath here and I'm going to do the same thing all over again. I'll make a little flux here and a little flux here. And then once again, I'm going to make my line come up, do a little circle, and there it is. I'll do the same thing over here. Make a little line, make a little circle, and there you have it. So we're going to flip the tile and do the same thing on this side. So you can see now this side is facing down and this side is facing up, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm coming in from this area right here, curving off, create the flux, go to the other side, create the flux, do the line, do a circle, line, circle, and then once again creating another set of flux, and once again line and a circle, line and a circle, just like so. If you want to pause, this is a great place to pause, and I'll see you in a minute. So we're going to carry on here, and we're going to start to work with one of my favorite tangles. When I first started tangling, Pokeleaf was one of my absolute favorites, and boy, it was all over my calendars, and just anywhere that I could tangle, I was tangling it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start right here in this little corner, and we're going to do another one of those curved lines. So I'm just going to come out and create that curved line just like so. And then I'm going to do a second curved line. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, Rami, I don't have that. You can make these curved lines anywhere you want. You can make them coming off the top of here. You can make them coming off the top of there. It's just an implied idea of where we want to put it. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a stem for these. And you can see that I'm doing the best I can. I've got a little bit of a tight space on this one. So once I have those 2 stems, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my little end piece on those. Now I'm going to turn my tile to make it easy for my hands so that I can create those 2 leaves here. I'll come in right underneath just so that you can see where I am, and I'll create my leaf. And I'll do another one right over here. Let's go ahead and try that on the other side. So I'm just turning my tile. Now I've got this place right in here in which to work, starting right in this corner, making that curved line, jumping out into the border, doing another one right over here. Go ahead and make your stem, so I can use this as kind of the jumping off point for that stem. And then I'll do it over here just to use another jumping off point for that stem. And then I'll seal off those stems right there, just with those little curved lines. I'm turning my tile here, and then now I'm going to create the leaf. So I'm just coming in right underneath, creating that leaf. There you have it. One more over here. And there is our poke leaf. Yay, poke leaf, we love you. All right, so we've got this really nice movement going on with the piece. I love how it just kind of feels like the whole thing is kind of moving in a circular motion. So if you need to pause me here, this is a great spot to pause me. Otherwise, let's just keep on rolling. So I'm going to add some Kruffle into the piece. And what I'm going to do is I'm pretty random about my placement. So I like to have things kind of feel like they're floating around in outer space. So I'm just going to do a nice big Kruffle right here. I'm going to put one Kruffle kind of on the border line right over here. Oops, the tile wants to move. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do another one right over here. So to do Kruffle, I'm going to come in here nice and big there for you. And we'll do it right in this guy right here since he's the biggest. I want you to think of Kruffle as almost like a yin and a yang, as it were. So I'm going to start at the top here, and I'm just going to make what I call a lazy S. See how that looks like a kind of lazy S? And then what I'm going to do is I'll go in and I will aura the inside just like that. And I'll go one more time because I have the room for it. Now for me personally, I really love to do Kruffle just on one side because I like to shade on the opposite side so you can see how beautiful that is. But generally when you see Kruffle, it's auraed on both sides. But for today's purposes, we're going to do just one side. So I'll come in right over here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this side like so. There's my lazy S, and then I'll go ahead and I will put in that extra Kruffle right in there. Coming down here, making that lazy S, and once again, putting in the Kruffle. Turning the tile here. Once we've turned that tile, I'm going to just scoot back there for you a little bit. And we're going to go once again and create more of those Kruffles. So I'm doing 3 on each side. My teacher, Paula Egan, who I absolutely love, she's an amazing tangler. If you ever get the chance to take from her, count yourself lucky. She taught me that you should always work in odd numbers because it keeps everything interesting to the eye. And so that's why I tend to work in 3s a lot. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do my wonderful little lazy S right there. Go right in and Kruffle out. Come down here, do the lazy S and Kruffle out. And last one right here. And Kruffle out. So there are those 3 pieces, and it really just kind of has that nice flow to it. I really think this is going to be a lot of fun. So for the last part here, if you need to pause me just to catch up, this is great. So go ahead and pause me right here. Otherwise, we're just going to keep on rolling. Okay, so let's keep on rolling, shall we? I'm going to come right in here and I'm going to start to build our border. And so I know you're probably thinking to yourself, well, didn't you want to build your border sooner? No, I wanted to leave it so that it was a much more fluid border. So I'm just going to come in here and you can see I'm really dancing on that Kruffle line there. And then once I hit that Kruffle, I'm going to come out the other side. So I'm just going to go right around it. And then once again, I'm going to hit onto that Icantoo. Turning my tile here, and once again I'm looking for a place where I can bring my border. So I'll bring that bad boy right there and right here. And you can see I'm just hollybawing a little bit by going in and out through here. So just coming around and creating my border. You can see I'm looking for places where I can poke through there. Turning my tile, going around. And getting in there. And there you have it. So now we've really framed out the piece, so you have some pieces that are inside, some pieces that are outside. So we're really using that concept of holly-bah, which I love so very much. I love that idea of in and out of the piece itself. All right, so we are going to get ready to start doing color. Yay, color! I want you to start thinking about what color you want to see in your center. So take a moment, think about the color you want to see, and I'll be right back. Okay, so hopefully you have picked out the color that you're ready to work with. If you know me, you know that I never like to do the same tangle twice in terms of doing the same thing over and over again. So the first time I did this piece, I really was going for kind of an amberish kind of interior there. And then the second time I did it, I put kind of an amethyst feeling in the center of it. So this time I think I'm going emerald, and I've got two different colors in my hands here. I've got this really pretty kind of mint green, and I have this really nice forest green that I'm going to work with. Can you tell that I like this pencil quite a bit? Somebody told me the other day that there are pencil extenders. I think I might need to get one for this one. It's going to need to be retired soon. So let's do a little color theory here just for the moment. So because this is a very light color, it has a very light viscosity, but once you've noticed that you have your light, you have your medium, and you have your dark, you know that you have three different colors inside that pencil. But when you have a light viscosity pencil like that one is, sometimes it's nice to have a complementary color nearby. What that means is it's in the same color family, just a little bit darker. And so I've got this really nice, it's almost like an emerald green pencil, and I just love that color next to that kind of minty green. So that's why I'm starting with these two together. So when I say light, medium, dark, I mean that's the pressure or the tension that you're putting on the pencil itself, so that when you're creating, you know how much you're starting with. Now, for most of you who have done this with me before, you know it's my mantra: light, medium, dark. Light, medium, dark, because you can always go darker later. So I'm going to come in here, and you'll see that I'm working on the side of my pencil, and I'm going to come in and I'm working in that circular like motion that that I'm always talking about here at Tangled Yogi. And you'll also notice that I'm not going to erase any of that stuff that's in the center of my my circle. I just really don't think it's necessary, but if it bothers you and you want to erase yours, you're welcome to do it. But like I said, there's no mistakes in Zentangle, so you don't have to worry about those lines that are in the center. So I just lightly shaded the interior of the circle here, and it's just a really nice soft green. Now I'm going to come in with a little bit heavier pressure on my pencil, and you can already see that it's starting to lay down that color a little bit more heavily, and it's quite lovely. I do love that emerald green color. I just think it's so luscious. So I'll just go ahead and continue to work around that gemstone there, getting in there nice and deeply. And then I'll work my way around the top as well, still leaving lots of light up here in this corner. You know, I like the idea of a source of light. And now I'm realizing that I forgot to tell you another thing that we need. We're going to need a white pen. Oh no, I forgot again. My goodness, I need to really get it together. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in with my darker pencil, and I'm going to start to lay down just a little bit of shading. Now, the shading that I'm starting with here is just a really, really light shading. I don't have to put a whole lot of pressure on that pencil because it's already a couple shades darker than what I already have. And you can see I'm not being overly precious with this. I'm just letting my pencil work in that nice soft circular motion, and it really blends in quite nicely throughout all of this. Now I'm going to go out onto the edge there where the black line is, and I'm just going to hug that black line with a little bit of heavier pressure with this pencil. And you can already see that that's starting to bring a little bit of dimension into that orb. It's already making it so that it wants to just pop right off the page. I just love that. So that really just brought in a ton of dimension and softness, and it's really quite nice. I do like that. I might come in a little bit with a little bit more of that medium tension from that first pencil and just kind of keep on working it a little bit, just to create a little bit more depth, and maybe some really, really light tension right in here, just to make it a little bit softer. So now you can continue to work on it and see how it feels for you as you create your orb. So there's my centerpiece. If you need to pause and continue working, this is a great place to do it. All right, so in that last segment, you saw me get mad at myself because I forgot to tell you about a white pen. And of course, I'm up here in the studio right now, and I don't have one of my Signos nearby, but I do have a Jelly Roll white nearby, so I'm going to use my Jelly Roll this time. Normally, I'm really big on the Signo pens. I think they're great, but when in Rome, right? So I'm going to take this little Jelly Roll, and this little Jelly Roll is the 08 white. And I'm just going to come in here to the area where it's darkest, and I'm going to put in a nice curved line if it's going to let me. Let's see if it's going to let me. It might be a little cranky today. Let's see. Can we get you to do it? Absolutely. So we're just coming in with a nice curved line and getting that Jelly Roll to just establish a little bit of dimension to it. And you can see it's fighting me a little bit, but once I get it on there, it's pretty much in. And then I'm going to go ahead and give a couple of dots on one side and a couple of dots in another. And that's really going to give me a nice dimension there for this particular piece. So when in Rome, use the white pen that you have. If you've got a Posca pen, use a Posca pen. But there is a little bit of a nice highlight inside your gemstone. So if you want to pause me here, that's a great place to do it. Otherwise, we are going to keep on going. Okay, so I'm going to start to work on the fans that you can see right up in here. And one of the things that I'm thinking about is what colors I want to see next to that green. And I was feeling like I really wanted to see something that was a little bit softer, more like an ocean feel. So I'm going with this really pretty turquoise. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm just very gently now going to shade in with the lightest of tension here that pretty turquoise blue. And you can see that I'm not being overly careful about it. I'm just getting in there and shading that in and getting all the way over here as well. So we've got that nice, very, very light turquoise blue. Now what I'm going to start to do is use a little bit heavier tension. So you can see I'm at the very back fan here, and I'm going to start to add now that medium tension all the way into about half of the piece. So you can see that I'm using that circular-like motion, getting that really nicely in there. Same thing on the next one. I'm just going in and giving it that nice soft circular motion. Notice how I'm leaving light on the edge of the fan itself. And then I'm coming in right over here, adding a little bit of light at the edges just by leaving them out. And then finally I'm coming in right here and just doing a little bit more of that shading. So there's our medium tension. Now, because that is such a light viscosity color, I've got this really pretty cerulean blue here that I'm going to use. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to hug that line just like so, and it really pops off of that blue and just gives it that really gorgeous pop. So I'm just going in with that cerulean blue, nice light tension because I don't have to lay down heavy tension. The color is so dark all by itself, I don't have to worry about it. Coming in right in here as well. and then finally right over here. Now you'll notice that I have left this area right in here blank. So really keep that in mind when you're doing this, that you're leaving that area blank, okay? All right, so you're going to go around and do all your fans, and we will come back in a minute. Okay, so here we are, and we are going to carry right on here. And I'm really loving how quiet and calm this piece is. It just has a real nice softness to it. So I'm going to keep in those colors today because I'm just feeling just really nice and calm. So what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to work in these leaves right over here. And I have these two really nice colors that I'm going to bring together. I've got kind of like a wheat brown and a really pretty kind of a sienna brown. So I'm going to bring those two together. So I'm going to start up here in this particular spot, and I'm going to start to lay down like a very nice soft wheat brown, and you can see that it's just gliding right onto the paper. It's just really soft and very pretty. So I'm just going all the way through and working in that circular like motion and just really developing that nice rich wheat color. Now you'll notice, because this color is a very light viscosity, I'm not going to be able to get much medium tension out of it. So I could try by just adding a little bit of pressure to my pencil just on the inside edges here. You can see that I'm just giving that a little bit of medium tension, and I'm not really sure if that's actually even showing up because it is such a light viscosity color. So once I've kind of let go of the idea of that, I'm going to grab that really pretty sienna color. And like I said before, a little goes a long way, so the lightest of tension here. So I'm just going to come in and very, very softly now start to make the edges of that leaf blush. So I'm just letting it have a little blush of color. Just working in that nice soft circular motion, trying not to get a line of demarcation if I can. Just very soft. And then maybe I'll add a little blush of color right over here on the edge. I guess maybe I'm longing for fall. Out here in California, we're not going to get our fall colors until a lot later. Not until November at least. So here we go. I'm going to add a little bit of heavier tension just on the edges. I'm just doing that medium tension, not a really heavy tension. And just letting those outside edges get a little bit more blushy. And then I'll break up that line with a little bit of circular feel to it. And I really like the way that that's looking. It's just nice and soft. It's almost like a sunburst of color there on the edge of that leaf. So let's go ahead and do that on the other side. And if you want to watch, you can watch me here one more time. So I'm just going in with a little bit of that wheat-like color. And I'm bringing it all the way into the leaf itself. And you can see I'm not being overly precious about that color. I'm just laying that color down and having a good time with it. I'm not getting overly attached. And then I'll go ahead and I'll do a heavier tension right in here, just to keep with the consistency of it. Even though it's not really showing up that much, I still want to keep with the consistency of it. And then I'll go ahead and I'll make the edges blush. So here I am with the sienna, very lightly now, laying down that color, letting it get nice and blushy. Just on the edge. I'll come over here and get a little bit of blushiness right over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of that deeper tension now, right on the edges. And really just get out in there. It just really gives that a lovely feel. So go ahead and do your leaves, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you can see that I've finished up both of those leaves here, and now I'm going to start to work inside of these particular leaves right here that I've got. And I am holding on to that same red, that kind of sienna red that I used as the blush for the inside of that leaf there. I'm going to continue to use that. I'm carrying my color, as it were. So what I'm going to do is I'll start by just laying down that color nice and softly, and you can see the difference of that color with it not having that brown underneath it. So it's enough of a difference for me that I'm getting a little bit of a contrast color, but it's related enough to that other leaf that it keeps it interesting. So I'm just going to go ahead and come up to this guy right here, and you'll notice that I'm leaving those little circles at the edge of the lines alone. So I'm just getting in there, adding in a little bit of that light tension. And now I'm going to go back in and start to do my shading. So I'm going to start from the bottom of Flux here, and I'm going to do that medium tension. And you can see that my pencil is starting to work in that circular like motion, and I'm traveling a good 3/4 of the way up that Flux. Now I'm going to add a little bit more tension to that pencil here, and you can see that it's starting to get a little bit of that richness right at the bottom, which is so pretty. So I'll start again, medium tension right in here, traveling about 3/4 of the way up Flux, and then I'm going to go ahead and give that a little bit of extra tension. Same thing over here, coming in 3/4 of the way, 3/4 of the way, and then once again getting that nice deep tension, that nice heavier pressure on the pencil, just like so. So go ahead and do the other side, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, so I've had a chance to do the other side, and now I'm going to start to look at my my poke leaf. So out here in California, we have a really beautiful flower that I believe is called Indian paintbrush, and it's one of my favorite flowers that we have out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as my inspiration for my poke leaf here today. So what I'm going to do is I'll start with my yellow first, and we all know that yellow has very low viscosity to it, but that's okay because we've got our orange nearby. And so I'm just going to go in there with a little bit of that yellow. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with that orange that I have, and very, very gently now I'm going to shade about 3/4 of the way up that poke leaf with that very, very pale orange. Now once I get to the bottom of that, I'm going to start to give that heavier pressure, and that's going to start to give me a little bit of an ombre inside of that poke leaf that is just going to make this look just like what Indian paintbrush looks like. It just has that really beautiful orange bottom but a yellow top, which is so pretty. So I'm going to do the same thing over here and just get right into it, nice and soft. And then once again, a little bit of heavier tension right around the bottom here. And I'm just going to let those guys blend right into each other, giving it a really nice feel. Now you may decide that you're not interested in working those colors, but you can still do the same kind of shading, so that's always a good thing. Now inside here, I think I'm going to use this red color as my stem. So I'm just going to come in and use a little bit of that red very, very lightly here. and I'll use it a little bit over here as well. And you can see that I'm leaving lightness towards the center, and then I'll add some darkness right up at the top and a little darkness right over here. Same thing up in here. A little bit of light, a little bit of light, and then a little bit of dark and a little bit of dark. Okay, so go ahead, do those poke leaves, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so let's talk about the background here. We're going to start to work with the background. I'm going to talk about the division in the piece here. You can see that in the first one I used a little bit of sienna on one side and a little bit of blue on the other. Now for this one, I think I'm going to go with a purple in the background, and so I've got these two really lovely purples. I've got like a magenta purple and a violet purple. I'm going to start with the light purple first, that light magenta, and I'm just going to start to work my way into the background here. And you'll notice that I'm using that nice circular soft motion. I know that that purple is just going to pop right off of these colors that I have here. So I'm just going in there and I'm just starting to lay down that color all the way around. So you can see I'm not being overly careful, just enough so that I don't, start getting into the white of the poke leaf. But otherwise, I'm just really just going in and letting that color rip. Same thing in here. So I'll go all the way down on the side right over here. And notice that I'm going to start to work inside of where we have those blank parts of the Fayz Flower. So I'll just come over here as well. I'll do this whole side. And notice I'm not going outside of the border. I'm going to stay inside of the border here. So I'll get all the way down in here as well. So I'm really just working that whole area, getting around in here. You can hear my table shaking a little bit. And then working my way all the way around in here. So once I've filled up that space and I'm working in that circular-like motion still, now what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to use a little bit of heavier tension, and I'm going to create an aura that goes all the way around that Fayz flower. So you can see that it's going to start to have like a glow about it, which is really beautiful. So I'm just working it all the way around that Fayz flower and using that medium tension. And I'll come around up in here, adding a little bit over here. So really just developing that nice depth of color all the way around. Now remember, moving your tile to make it easy for your hands. And notice if you've been holding your breath while you've been doing your color. See if you can bring the breath back into the piece itself. I was talking to my students the other day about bringing a smile to the sides of your face. There's a beautiful Buddhist monk, his name is Thich Nhat Hanh, and he talks about how when you're meditating, see if you can turn up the sides of your mouth to bring a little smile to your face, because you might as well be enjoying yourself while you're doing what you're doing, right? So I'm putting a little smile on my face as I bring my color all the way around the piece. Now I'll come back in with a little bit of that darker purple, and I'm just very lightly going to start to go around those lines, those darker lines, and really start to develop that really beautiful glow of that lavender purple, or it's almost like a violet purple. You can see that it just loves to just go right onto that beautiful magenta color. They're just so symbiotic with each other. So you can see that that's really just starting to develop a very nice pop. I'm just going all the way through there. So go ahead and pick out your colors that you want to see in your background, and you can carry on just the way that I've been carrying on. and I will see you in a minute. You can see that's really starting to glow. See you soon. So you can see that I've had a chance to go all the way along here with that darker purple underneath the Flux and underneath the poke leaf, and I've gone all the way down and around over here. Now, what I want to talk about is the other side. I'm going to add some gray to my piece. Now, if you don't have a really nice gray color pencil, you can always use your graphite. That's completely fine, and grab a tertian and do your shading. However, because I'm left-handed, I always end up wearing my graphite. So that's why I use a gray color pencil. I'm going to use the same exact technique that I did on this side on the opposite side. So go ahead and pick your other side's color. If you want to try the gray, it's going to be beautiful because I love to see that gray charcoal color next to other colors. It really does start to give it a modern pop. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you can start to see that I've been adding a little bit more to it. So the gray has now come in on the other side here. And you'll notice that I've actually added a little bit of shading right around the border as well. And I did that up around the purple as well. It just felt like it needed a little something for me. So I went ahead and added some of that as well. So if you want to go ahead and add those pieces in now, this is a great place to pause. Otherwise, let's go ahead and talk about the Kruffle that's in here. So you'll notice that I haven't touched those with color yet, and there's a reason for that. We're going to take the purple that's on this side and put it in the Kruffle on this side, and then we'll take the gray from this side and bring it over to the Kruffle on this side, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. So go ahead and grab the color that you did on the non-gray side, if you did gray, or whatever that color was for you, and I'm going to go ahead and start to work over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and grab that purple, and I'll go in with the lightest purple first and just start to shade that in like so. And then once I've done that, I'm going to add a little bit of that medium tension. Let's make this a little bit bigger so that you can really see what I'm up to. So now I'm going to add a little bit of that darker purple. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of that really dark purple, but with my lightest tension. I don't need to use a ton of tension on this. And I'm going to blend this out just a little bit so there's no heavy line of demarcation. So there you can see that pulling one color from one side to the other side really gives an interesting look to the eye, yeah? So let's go ahead and do that on these two as well. And I'll see you in a minute. Don't forget to breathe, relax, and enjoy the process. So I really like the way those are just starting to pop right off the page. Isn't that fun? So now I'm going to add that gray over here. So I'll come into that Kruffle and I'll start with that very, very pale gray. And then once I have the pale gray in there, I'm going to go ahead and add some depth into there. So I'm pressing down on that pencil a little bit more, getting a little bit more depth in there, and then even heavier color right in at the bottom there. So go ahead and do the other two, and I'll see you in a minute. Take your time and enjoy. So now we're going to work with the inside of the Kruffle where the auras are. And what I want to talk about with that is I love to carry color on my pieces. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that gem color and I'm going to put it into the inside of those Kruffles. So I've got that original light color that I started with, and I'm just going to start to bring that into the Kruffle here very lightly. Now, because this is a very low viscosity color, it's not really going to show you what medium tension looks like. So all I'm going to do is switch over into that darker color with the very light tension, go about halfway up the Kruffle. And then I'll go ahead and I'll add a deeper tension to it. And doesn't that make that look so rich and beautiful? I really, really love the way those are looking. So go ahead and do all of these in here and in here. And that's really going to help your eye to float around the piece. It's quite nice. All right, I'll see you in a minute. So now you can see that I've had the chance to bring that green all the way around, and isn't that so beautiful, the way that it's just kind of floating off, almost like they're just about to fall right off the page. I just love that. So we're going to start to work now with these guys right in here. Can everybody see those? So you know me, I do love to carry my colors, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take some of these oranges and some of these reds and start to bring them into the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that red that I was working with early on, and I'm going to do kind of an alternation because I'm so close to that red over here. I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to use it just like I did the gemstone in the middle. So you can see that I'm just starting with that really, really soft tension, just adding that color in very, very lightly. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of intensity right over here into this one side. So just know that you don't have to do too much detailing on these because they're such small little circles right in there. Now notice that I wouldn't want to put the red right next to this one. So I'm going to actually go right over here and come right over here and do the same exact thing that I just did in that alternating corner. And just laying down that nice soft red. Go ahead and give that a little bit of depth. And there you have that really nice little sphere right there. And it's popping off of that purple so nicely. Then we have these really pretty kind of orangey and yellowy pieces in here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my orange and my yellow, and I'm going to use that right in here as well. And you can see that the yellow, it's really hard to see where the white begins and the yellow starts. So I'm going to have to use some of that orange to give it a little bit of detailing. So I'm going to go back in with the orange and use that as my darker color right in here. So there it is, just giving that a little bit of orbness, which is so nice and soft. And then I'll come in over here and I'll do the exact same thing. Now you may decide, you know, I really don't want to use those same colors again. I want to do it with the gray, or I want to do it with a different color. You're more than welcome to. You could even use black inside of those and really make it pop. So see what's speaking to you and then go and throw those into those orbs. I'll see you in a minute. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, so I'm back, and we've had a glitch with the microphone here. So you can see I've started doing some background work, but I have enough to show you on either side, so I do apologize for that. So I'm just going to blow this area up right here, and we're going to do some technique called wallpaper. And what wallpaper is, and you can see it right in here, it's where you take the color of the piece and you actually tangle with it. So I'm actually going to do a little bit of it right in here, and I've got my gray pencil, and I don't have to press too hard, and we're going to do the Tangle Nekton. And so basically what you're going to do is you're going to do 4 lines. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to change direction here. So you can see I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, ooh, and 4. There we go. Now I'm going to change direction again, and I'm going to come in here 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll change direction one more time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is basically Nekton, and I'll do it a little bit more in these little areas that I have here. So here's another spot where I can go in. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I'll work on that little area 1, 2, 3, 4, and I still have a little bit of space left, so I'll get right in there. So you can see that when I zoom out what that really pretty pattern looks like. And just for the sake of argument here, I'll go ahead and I'll grab that purple right down in this corner, and we'll do a little bit of Nekton in the purple so that you can get a really good idea of it. So here I am in the purple, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll switch direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, switching direction. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then finally 1, 2, 3, Oh, I'm only going to get 3 in there. That's okay with me. So go ahead and go all the way around. I do apologize that we had that problem, but hopefully that was a good enough demo for you to get the idea. I'll see you soon. Okay, so you can see that I've had a chance to finish up that Nekton, and you can even see that I went inside here and did some Nekton too. So if you neglected to do those areas as well, you can pause me right here. This is a great spot to just jump right in there and get those little bad boys in there. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab the Pitt pen that I had talked to you about earlier. This is by Faber-Castell, and I had seen it in a store and I thought, oh, that looks like it might make a wonderful puddle pen. And it actually has what it says in here, India ink, which is great. And it also says it's waterproof. Yay, waterproof. We like that. So that if you are doing white pen over the top of it, it's not gonna disturb the color, so to speak. So what I'm gonna do is what I did in the first couple of ones, where I turned my borders black, and you can see, look at how gorgeous that got. It just made it really, really rich and beautiful. So go ahead and start to puddle, and you can see that I've got my pen in here. I really do like this pen. This is gonna be a nice pen to work with. You know, it's kind of a naughty thing to do to test drive something out while you're doing a video, but luckily this is going to work out quite well. Now, when you are doing puddling in such a large area, one of the things to keep in mind is to work in that circular-like motion when you are doing that puddling so that you don't get any scratch lines showing up underneath your piece. So I highly suggest to you using that kind of circular method of getting that puddling ink to happen. Okay, so you can see all I'm doing is I'm just going around in my border here, and I'm going to go all the way around the piece. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Rami, this is so much work, but I promise you in the end you're going to look at it and you're going to go, that was totally worth it. So go all the way around your piece, puddle in, relax, let it be a meditation in motion, and I'll see you in a minute. Don't forget to breathe and enjoy yourself. Maybe turn the sides of your mouth up to have a little smile on your face while you do it, and hopefully the rest of your body will go along with the program. I'll see you in a minute. All right then. So I've had a chance to go all the way around with that Pitt pen that I was talking about earlier. I'm going to give this pen a solid 8.5. It did really, really well. The only thing I would say about it was that I had to go back over a second time just to get it really, really luscious. So the Tombow remains my all-time favorite puddling pen, but this is a good, solid pen. I have to say, I really did enjoy this pen. This is a good pen. So let's talk about it. Look at how that changed so much. So we went from something that looked like this, where we just had the white borders, to something that looked like that with the black borders. And you can really see that that really just tightens up the whole thing and gives it a really gorgeous finished glowing look, which is really fun. Now, if you like seeing the white borders, there is nothing wrong with that. I think it's a beautiful piece just with the white borders too. So, you know, that's something to think about. It's your aesthetic. You can choose what you want to do. And by the way, you don't just have to do it with black. You could go into your borders and do color too, which would be really neat to try. In fact, I think I might try it on this particular piece after we're done. So go ahead and grab your white pen. I know that I was really naughty early on in the video and I did not tell you that you would need your white pen, but go ahead and grab it just for a second. And what we're going to do is we're going to get into our border a little bit, and you can see that in my last couple I did some dots around the outside edges, and I even did some dots on the inside as well. And so I'm just going to play with the outside edge for a moment, and here's where I'm really going to test that ink and see if it stays put. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in and do some dots, and yeah, that ink is staying put. It is not turning blue. That is fantastic. Go Faber-Castell Pitt pen. Woo-woo! So now I'm just going in over here and adding in some dots over here. And it just kind of gives it a happy feeling, a little bit more festive, as it were. I feel like Bob Ross saying, oh, let's just put some happy little dots in there. He's my hero. I think it's okay. So I'm going to start to turn my tile to make it easy for my hands here. And I'm going to come up around this leaf and add some dots around that leaf. And get all the way around there. Let's make sure that those get in there really good. Come on. And then I'll come over here and I'll do a little bit more. So just getting around the edges and having some fun with it. Turning my tile. And getting down over here. And you can see that this is really coming along quite nicely. Look at how that just got really festive and fun. So there you have it. Go around your piece, do some dots, and I'll see you in a minute. Well, all right. So I had a chance to play just for a minute or two, and I'll just show you what I've been up to here. I'm going to zoom in, and you can see right in this area right here, I added some alternating dots. I did some black with some white dots in this area, and I did the same thing in the mirror on the other side, right? So I did it also right over here. So that was the final piece, and we have made our way to the end of our journey. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please go and give us a good review on YouTube or a thumbs up. That always helps to boost our online presence so that more people can find us. And if you really did enjoy your time today with me, you can go to the website tangledyogi.com and check out all things Tangled Yogi, upcoming classes, the tiles that we have, the ergo easel, which is what I'm working on today. All things Tangled Yogi are right there. And if you really did like the class and you want to know more, you can go to Facebook and look us up at Tangled Yogi, and I post all of my classes there, the results of the class. And I also post my upcoming Zoom classes, which are interactive classes that you can take with me so that we're actually talking and meeting each other, which I really love, meeting all the tanglers that I've had a chance to teach. So there you have it. Until we tangle again, I'm Rami Marks, your Tangled Yogi. Bye for now.